Alright, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another video. Please do like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Really appreciate all your support on the channel. Just going to be checking out the stock market today again for another daily update. Checking out some news then before we get into the charts. As we can see, the main thing right now is this US-EU trade agreement. We've been talking about tariffs a lot on the channel recently, and I do think that this is the major thing that's going to be causing a lot of volatility in the markets. Obviously, at the start of the year, we did see a huge amount of volatility when Trump came into power, started throwing tariffs around. And you can see quite clearly here that basically we have been looking at a very big correction to the downside, followed by we have fully recovered now. The stock market in the US pretty much all-time highs, and you can see here we have seen quite a significant amount of deals being struck across the world. You can see the US-China talks continue, with the truce likely to be extended, which is obviously good. We've obviously gapped up as well. When you look at the charts in a bit, you'll see we've gapped up over the weekend. Obviously, things are looking very strong in the US right now. They are bringing in a lot more revenue because of the tariffs that are going into effect, and everything is looking really strong in terms of their metrics and their economy. You can see here, the US struck a framework trade agreement with the European Union, imposing a 50% import tariff on most EU goods, half the threatened rate, a week after agreeing a similar trade with Japan. So as you can see, Trump has basically gone around and played hardball with everybody, giving them really big tariffs, or at least threatening them with huge tariffs and then cutting them down to more reasonable rates that I think he was probably looking for in the first place. You can see a 15% tariff on European goods, forced purchases of US energy and military equipment, and zero tariff retaliation by Europe. That's not negotiation, that's the art of the deal. As you can see, Trump coming through again, showing that he is a businessman and knows how to run a country, which is something that we are sorely lacking in the UK, if I do say so myself. You can see European futures surge more than 1%, while the S&P 500 futures rose 0.5% and Nasdaq futures advanced 0.6%. So this is the main piece of news over the past few days. This is obviously going to be really good. I think this has actually been quite good for the euro as well, because there's been lots of uncertainty surrounding these tariffs, and the fact that they're much lower than anticipated is good for everyone in terms of the market, in my opinion. So we'll probably be seeing the euro and also the S&P 500, etc., having a good week this week, provided we don't see any, as I said, black swan events. But as you can see, baseline 50% tariff will be seen by many in Europe as too high, but compared to 30%, it's much better. And as a result, I think the sentiment surrounding all of this uncertainty has been resolved, and everyone is winning, basically. So you can see that was the main piece of news. There's a few articles surrounding this. You can see European stocks rise to 4 months highs after the US and the EU strike trade agreement. Very good stuff. There's the Forvia SE going up to some nice recent highs. And then you can see stock markets boosted after the EU and US strike a trade deal. Stock markets rose in Europe and Asia on Monday after they finally hammered out the deal, and the damaging trade war, which is what I was talking about, has been mostly averted. 15% is obviously quite a significant amount, but it's much better than 30%. And overall, I think this has had a positive sentiment and a positive, in general, move for the stock market and for both countries in terms of the EU, and also what we've been getting with all the uncertainty. We've seen a lot of crazy swings in the markets. It's basically, we've been having a lot of uncertainty created by Trump and all the crazy stuff that he's been doing with tariffs. But obviously, I think this has all worked out in the end really well for not only the US, but also the EU, getting some clarity on what's going forward. And I think, obviously, markets really dislike clarity, a lack of clarity in general. And now I think we're probably going to be getting some good momentum going forward on all fronts. So, by the way, if you're feeling lost in this unpredictable market, you can stay till the end and I'll share my personal outlook and strategy with you, which I think will be really interesting and helpful for you. And if you do want to get any help with the market, you can get the link down in the description to sign up to my private Telegram or WhatsApp to help you there. So we're just going to take a look at the charts then and see what's going on today. As we can see on the markets, we have gapped up going into Monday here. Big gap being formed here on the S&P 500 as we have gapped up on a positive sentiment surrounding this deal. I think this is obviously a really good sign, and obviously compounds what we've been talking about positive relations between the EU and the US in terms of the tariffs being resolved. Obviously, the stock market jumping up over the weekend, a strong sign that people are trying to get in before the next move to the upside, We are just slowly grinding up here for the S&P 500, gaining some pace actually over the past few weeks. You can see a little bit of chop here as we came and hit the new all-time high, as people are uncertain whether to hold or whether to sell as we hit these new levels. But as you can see quite clearly, big move to the upside, cleanly breaking out of this range that we were forming. And now looking like we're just gaining steam to the upside. Another gap to the upside this week, really strong. I'll probably expect this to have a little bit of a pullback to fill this gap and then continue going into this week. Overall, the sentiment for the S&P 500 looking really bullish here. We'll just take a look at a few of the big stocks before we close out the video. As you can see here, Nvidia at new all-time highs in pre-market again. As you would expect with the stock market so strong, pretty much everything worked out exactly as I predicted last week. As you can see, Monday through Friday, what happened was we kind of went sideways for a bit. We came down, we closed that gap, previous gap up, and then everyone bought the gap back up, and we've continued now heading to new all-time highs in pre-market today. Nvidia, nothing really to be said apart from the fact that it's looking incredibly strong, absolutely printing to the upside. Tesla in a bit of a weird spot. As I've been saying, the fractured relationship between Elon Musk and Trump right now is leading to Tesla stock being a bit sideways, as you can see quite clearly here. Potentially forming a little bit of a bull flag though. Something like this. And I think in a market that is predominantly bullish over time, you'll probably see this wind up a bit and then move to the upside back up towards this all-time high area here. Overall, looking like it's still in a bit of a weird spot. Microsoft continuing to the upside here. You can see not really anything changed. Grinding to the upside in a massive way and looking incredibly strong, to be honest. Up in pre-market as well a little bit here, as you can see. Finishing at a new all-time high last week before rounding out. Oh no, that's today actually. No, it's not. It's obviously not opened yet. Amazon. Looking like it's moved to a new high on Friday, Thursday, Friday. Looking like this is up massively in pre-market as well. Ready for a new move to the upside. Coming back to this all-time high, recovering from this V-shape just like everything else. Apple, just like Tesla, in a bit of a weird spot right now. Does need to be starting to make some moves up, but Apple always been a bit of an ugly duckling in terms of its price. Very choppy price action, but overall in the long term goes up. Google looking like it's going to be making its way back to its all-time high as well. And Meta here. Came and hit a new all-time high. Now we're just waiting to see whether or not we'll break back this high or we'll have a little bit of a retrace. So overall, things looking positive in the markets here. As you can see, S&P 500 at new all-time highs. Most of our tech stocks looking really strong. And right now, we're just going to see what happens next, going into this new week on the markets. As always, I appreciate your watching. Please do like and subscribe, leave a comment. Make sure you add the personal Telegram in WhatsApp or Telegram below in the description so you can get help with stock picks. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.